will you go ahead and share the full screen again, and then we'll go ahead and start the meeting?
Hello, everyone.
The one you showed at the beginning.
The
graphic.
picture, the image,
yes.
the graphic?
Yeah. So we're going to share that graphic again, and then we will be good to go. My apologies again, everybody.
This is my bad.
Good evening. The Lincoln Heights Council meeting is now in session. The Village of Lincoln Heights regular council meeting, Monday, March 22nd, 2021. The time is 7:34. Roll call, Ms. Randolph.
Mayor Ruby Kinsey Mumphrey,
Present.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson,
Present.
Councilwoman Phyllis Faber,
Present.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Present.
Councilman Durant Daniels,
Present.
Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Present.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell. Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Present.
Hi, we have 7 who are present. Mayor, we do have a quorum.
Okay. All right. I guess I'll do the prayer. Dear gracious and eternal Father, we want to thank you for bringing us in this place. Lord, we ask you to touch each and every one of the council members, Lord. Touch us in a mighty way. Hopefully, Lord, and we know that you're awesome. You're always awesome, Lord. We ask you to touch us to make the right decisions for the Village of Lincoln Heights. Lord, we ask you to touch our residents as well as we're going through this COVID pandemic. Lord, we ask you to teach our young folk, Lord, that at the end of the day, that we're all in it together, Lord. Encourage them to do the right decisions for the Village of Lincoln Heights and abroad with their families as well. Lord, we ask you to touch the ones that are watching us and touch them in a mighty way with their families as well. And we ask you, Lord, and all these blessings, I pray today. Amen.
Amen.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
before we start, can we have a moment of silent prayer for Reverend Mobley's family? He passed yesterday.
Oh, yes, ma'am. And for those who don't know, Reverend Mobley, he was a mayor. For ones that may not know, he was a mayor a few decades back. So have a moment of silence for him. Okay. Thank you, Miss Mitchell. Mr. Mobley was a old neighbor of mine. So I will everyone please keep their family in prayer.
I will I will inform you of the arrangements.
Okay, thank you. Before we go further, Miss Mitchell, do you remember the years that he was the mayor?
Well, he was the mayor, I want to say somewhere around 1975 to 1981. And then the current charter that we are under, he was the mayor from 1993. He came in as the village manager as well. So from 1993 to 1995.
All right, thank you. All right, we're going to move on to motion. Is there a motion for the acceptance of the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Okay. Motion in order for filing of the journal for the committee of the whole meeting minutes and regular council meeting minutes, both for March 8th, 2021. Is there a motion with any necessary corrections in order?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays? You. Announcements. Councilman Daniels, any announcement for you?
Sorry, no announcements at this time, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Baber.
Thank you, Mayor. The recreation meeting will be April the 1st at 5:30.
Okay. All right. Councilwoman Key.
No announcements at this time, Mayor.
Okay. Councilwoman Jeter.
Thank you, Mayor. Commissioner Treehouse sent me an email. I don't know if everyone else got the same one, looking for someone to serve on the commission with young girls. So if you didn't get it, I'm gonna forward it to you, and I'll forward to the clerk of council, and she can send it out to everyone, and hopefully someone will do it. I don't have any more room on my plate, so that's my only announcement. It's a great thing to do.
Okay, thank you. Vice Mayor, any announcement for you?
No announcements. Oh, yes, I do. I want to announce that spring break is next week, so be careful out while you're cutting corners in the village of Lincoln Heights. Our kids will be out. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Miss Mitchell.
Mayor, we want to announce that the St. Simon's Episcopal Church is still having their fish fry from 12 to 7 for the next 2 weeks. And I'd like to send a thank you out to all those who have patronized this.
All right, thank you. Let me see. Any other announcements? I did want to mention, because I'm not sure if the next time we'll have a council meeting, I'm thinking it'd be after Easter. Does anyone have any announcement as far as St. Simon's or any organizations that would be doing anything for Easter for the children in the neighborhood?
Mayor, I do. I will be sending an announcement that I received from Spirit of Christ Church. They're asking that we do an all call, so I'm going to send that to Miss Lisa tomorrow. I just got it today.
Okay. All right. She did email me about a month ago mentioning it, and I told her it would be fine to do that. All right. Thank you. I don't have any announcement. Ms. Fowler, do you have any announcement before your communication?
No, Mayor. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't.
All right. Thank you. I think I missed something. Okay. Then we're going to move on along to our regular agenda.
Excuse me, Mayor.
No. I'm missing the hearing from the residents.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes, Ms. Baber.
The thing is April the My recreation is April the 7th, not April the 1st. So it's
Okay.
April the 7th at 5:30.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Okay. Communications to council. Ms. Randolph, is there any communication?
Yes, Mayor. I would like to give everyone an update with the Planning Commission. I have reached out to all 5 members of the Planning Commission as well as Mr. Don Mercer regarding the Innovation Hub presentation that was given by Mr. Stephen Easley. The information was sent to each one of them. Unfortunately, they say they got it last Thursday, which I don't know. But I had given them the dates that you suggested, namely March 25th, April 1st, and April 8th as dates to come together to meet to discuss the Innovation Hub. So I'm waiting to hear back from everybody. The only one that gave me a date was Mr. Don Mercer. He was looking at April the 8th. So I'm waiting to get the information. Once I get information from all 5 of the Planning Commission members, I will email council the date chosen and the time chosen. And that was my update.
All right, thank you so much. Any questions for Ms. Randolph regarding the Planning Commission? Yes, Vice Mayor?
When was this sent off? Because I'm thinking if you haven't gotten a response, maybe you need to just go ahead and pick April 8th and just ask them to be here that day.
I sent the mailing on.
I'm not saying you per se,
sorry.
Ms. Randolph. I meant just we should do that if
Okay.
not responding. We got a lot of committees and commissions and people don't respond.
Yeah.
And it's
So,
important that they be there when Mr. Mercer is there.
Yeah, so I think we'll just go ahead with the 8th and we'll give them a call. Ms. Randolph, give them a call and let them know the date is set for the 8th, because that's very important that Mr. Mercer attends it. So thank you so much for your efforts, Randolph. Yes, Vice Mayor?
Mayor, can we also send them a letter? Can we put it in writing? It didn't happen if it wasn't written.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ms. Randolph.
I was going to say, I did tell them in the letter that we did have a meeting with Mr. Steve Easley. I personally called them. 3 of them I spoke with, and the other 3 I have to get, the other 2 I have to get a response because I did leave a voicemail. So as of today, the 3 that I did speak with said whatever date anybody wants to choose. So
sounds like the 8th. Okay, and so Ms. Randolph, they also have the information packet that Mr. Easley gave as well, and I think he's going to be doing a PowerPoint for them as well.
Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
Right.
So
Mr.
April the
Mercer, we want to make sure that he gets that information as well. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Okay. All right. Communications from the mayor. I do not have anything at this time, but I will make sure that I update you guys regarding my meeting with Mayor Poole and Mayor Finan regarding this CPD shooting range. Okay. All right. Communications from Village Manager Joyce Powdrill.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to start these meetings, my reporting out with just a paragraph in the report that I send out to you. So it gives the residents a context of what we're working on. So I'll just read that first paragraph and then jump into the highlights of my report. And so the 2021 strategic plan for the Village of Lincoln Heights, the village's strategic plan was adopted by the council on Monday, July 11, 2021. The purpose of providing a high-level strategic plan is to keep the village manager, council, and community stakeholders focused on the following activities that create sustainability and an improved quality of life in the village. And those activities or goals that we've set for the village are economic development, safety, village infrastructure, village operations, stakeholder relationships, and marketing and branding of the village. A resolution codifying these goals will be available for adoption on Monday, January 25th, 21. The first priority I will talk about is in the area of economic development, and that is the Memorial Field. The most recent update on Memorial Field is that the survey has been completed by the Kleinger Group, and they're finishing up their report that they will provide to the village. And then we will engage an appraiser. I've already reached out to an appraiser. I'm just waiting on their report to engage the appraiser. The second thing I may have mentioned in the last council meeting that we did have an interview with the Cincinnati Reds for the Cincinnati Reds Community Fund. We believe it went very well. The village is currently preparing a pitch with a group of community stakeholders to tell our story accurately and to convey the needs and wants of Memorial Field. Please jump in if you have questions at any time. In terms of some of the projects that under the category, the Hamilton County Development and Planning, we made an offer to a code enforcer. He has verbally accepted that position, and he will begin Monday, April 5th. The village has kicked off its mini planning grant with the Department of Hamilton County Planning and Development. Councilwoman Key and I both attended that event. Additional stakeholders included Moody Nolan, an architectural firm MKSK, and Red Tiger, an economic development firm, and Dan Ferguson of the Hamilton County Development Corporation. Mr. Josiah, I have on my list to talk about Beale Street. Do you want to comment on Beale Street?
Sure, I'd be glad to.
Thank you.
So good evening, everyone. And as you recall, 1023 Beale Street is the property that has the dilapidated, fallen down structure. There is now an order in place allowing for the structure to be, well, the property to be entered upon. So we were in contact with Hamilton County Planning and Development, Emily Carnahan, last week about the next steps in the process. And she has indicated that they are going to solicit bids for asbestos testing. As you may know, if there is asbestos, the building will have to be wrapped and proper abatement procedures followed, which raises the cost significantly. The cost is being paid by grant funds, so not anything coming directly from the village, but obviously the county would like to use as little amount as they need to. So once that testing is done, then the county will know what type of request for a proposal it needs to put out regarding demolition. And once we get those back, the demolition work will be awarded and we will proceed. So again, the good news is there's now a court order in place allowing entry onto the property for the testing. And then as we move down the path, that entry also allows for removal of the vehicles. So I think that's it in a nutshell. Did that cover everything on your end, Ms. Powdrell?
I think I may mention an individual maybe living on the site. Is that true?
Well, they're not sure. There are several vehicles on the site, and one of the vehicles is, I'm going to call it an RV. And so there is always the possibility that an individual is there. And when we get to the point that they actually do the entry upon the property for the asbestos testing, they'll do that with the accompaniment of a sheriff's deputy. And the sheriff's deputy, who has certain court work paper to serve upon the property owner, will knock on that RV door to see if there's anyone there.
Okay, thank you. That's all that I have in that. Next, I'll move to the community Wi-Fi. We have received 2 quotes on this particular project. We will present it to the committee and mull over how we are going to pay for it. We will have to go out and fundraise, but County Commissioner Reese has been very helpful in us trying to gain funding for this project. We feel pretty good about having the opportunity to fund this project, to allow it to be expandable, to do the things that we want to do to make Lincoln Heights that community of choice. I think this is a game changer for the village of Lincoln Heights. So we are moving forward with that particular project. Under safety, I've already spoken to you about our code enforcer. And then the only other thing I'd like to acknowledge that we do have Major Jackie Reed present here. Major Reed and Kyla Woods came out to visit the village, and they had an opportunity to tour the village today. Major, would you like to say anything?
Good evening. Thank you. This was my first time out, and so the sheriff has the intent of working together. I think I met Mr. Duran. I believe I met you on Zoom at the sheriff's office. So we did get a tour around. So when you mentioned the building, I did get to see that today. I think it's going to be an interesting project, but I have faith that Lincoln Heights is coming back. It reminds me a lot of my hometown, Niagara Falls, New York. And I saw a lot of what I saw Lincoln Heights today, and they started knocking down everything. So it became real barren. It wasn't my home anymore. And now they're building buildings, and I'm hoping that they take a big turn, and I'm hoping the same thing for Lincoln Heights. So the sheriff wants to build a conglomerate with the people of Lincoln Heights since we're out there. And we want to gain your trust, and we want to extend our help in any way that we can. That's all I had to say.
All right. Thank you, Major.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And we've already put Kyla to work, so.
Yes.
We're pretty excited, and the team is excited about that as well.
Yeah, Kyla's office is right next to mine, so we just holler over at each other. So
good.
She's excited too. So
good.
Works.
Good. Thank you so much. The next item, we'll talk about roads. Stephen and McIntyre will probably be the next streets that you will see paved. I believe it's the end of April. They'll probably start on that. And the winner of the bid for that project is Barrett Paving. And the next project will be Matthews and Taylor. And the low bidder on that project was John R. Jurgensen. The next steps on that is that the council must approve the recommendations made by CT Consultants. And upon the council's approval, CT will notify the contractors and get the paperwork processed. So this information was received last Friday, so that's why we don't have a resolution available for you to do that. So at our next council, we will put that forward so that we can move this project forward. We already had an extensive conversation with the renewal of the fire contract and the annual pricing of that increase of 5%. Under the service department of projects, I only needed to note that our lot cleanup has been rescheduled for April 1st and 2nd. And we may expand that based on additional conversations with Donna Pope. There may be additional streets that we may include on the lot cleanup project. Under finance, with the approval of the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, there will be some additional dollars coming to the village of Lincoln Heights. I do not want to put a number out there until I get the official number and details on how we would be allowed to spend those dollars. So hopefully by the next meeting of the whole, I can do that. Beautification. I'm working on a project with Councilwoman Phyllis Baber to strategically place flower pots all around the village. So we are underway of identifying those locations, and hopefully we can do it under a volunteer project of planting flowers and putting flower pots out for the village, through the village. So this project I've been working on kind of around the village. I've shared with you that Moody Nolan and MKSK have been touring our building to reimagine our building and how can we expand the use of our building. And so what they're going to do is come out Wednesday and do an assessment of our building. I cannot share with you what those dollars amount will be or what we will have to pay, if we'll have to pay. That's a conversation that we're continuing to have with those two firms, and they're all bringing additional resources to make that happen. I think I talked with you the last council meeting. We talked about expanding space so that the village can have space where we can sit down and have lunch or have a training room. So we're working on that. And then the final area is stakeholder relationships. And in this area, I just like to call out some of the organizations who stepped up and said, hey, we want to be a part of the reimagining or rebirth of Lincoln Heights. And so this is my opportunity to say thank you to them and show our appreciation of all of the hard work that they're doing just to see Lincoln Heights move forward. So there's GE Aviation. They're helping with the pitch for the Cincinnati Reds. They're sending in volunteers to help us with our lot cleanup. The village of Silverton, can't say enough about Tom Carroll. He's been just amazing, and he's helping with Memorial Field, the Cincinnati Reds pitch, and the marketing and branding of the village. Kleinger's group, who's helped us with Memorial Field, the Cincinnati Reds project, marketing and branding, and the surveying of the park. MKSK, they're working with us for the land use in the municipal building. Moody Nolan, same, land use in municipal building. United Way, they're on the team to work through the community Wi-Fi and any other community project initiatives that are available that they can initiate in the village. Red Tiger, which is an economic development firm, they're working with us on the land use study. Hamilton County Development Corporation, land use study, our housing project, and Wi-Fi. TechSoft Systems, which is a minority computer consulting firm, is working with us with the Wi-Fi. And the Port Authority is working in collaboration with us on housing. And then the Hamilton County Sheriff's is working with us on the community-oriented policing grant and community engagement initiatives. And now we have Kyla Woods, who's working with us on the marketing and branding. So I say all of that. That's a long list. and amazing group of people. And I think there are even more to come, that people are willing to come to Lincoln Heights and help us by providing their tools and their talent to help us move forward. So thank you to all of them who stepped up and said yes to move us forward.
Is there any questions? I'm sorry, Ms. Padro. Any questions for Ms. Padro?
Madam Mayor, I didn't have a question. I was just, well, it is a question. For the, Madam Mayor, is that okay?
Fine.
Thank you. For the code enforcer, on the report, it says 2022. He's coming in 2021, right? Or
yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I said.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. I just want to make sure I ain't missed that. Thank you.
And it's April 5th, not April 4th.
Okay. Looking forward to that.
Any other questions?
He's really excited.
Okay. Any other question for Ms. Padro? Okay, if there's no questions, is there a motion to accept Ms. Padro's report?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? All right. All right, we're gonna go straight into committee reports. Economic Development, Councilwoman Tanya Key.
Thank you, Mayor. Just because I know it's a lot of reports on the agenda today, so I apologize. I was able to send it out via email, so hopefully you all received it. It was later than Ms. Randolph was at the office, so she didn't get a chance to print it out for you. But I'm just going to go over some highlighted items. We did meet on March 1st at 6:30. All members were present. We had additional individuals at the meeting because we had several presentations. So also present at the meeting was our mayor, Ms. Ruby Kinsey Mumphrey, Councilman Daniels, our village manager, Ms. Powdrill, our assistant village manager and finance director, Ms. Pope. We had representatives from the Port Authority, Ms. Deborah Robb, Mr. Aaron Brown, Mr. Bradley Melton, Mr. Eric Hun of Hun Construction. The meeting was called to order at 6:32. We passed the previous minutes, pending any corrections. Now down to new business. We reviewed a presentation from Mr. Aaron Brown, and he demonstrated an interactive map that highlighted parcels of the village. This map is very comprehensive in that it looks at utilities, it looks at different aspects of each parcel of the village. And so that helps us as we prepare and plan to develop our vacant lots, to develop commercial properties, whatever we choose to develop on those lots. This will give us a high level view of what it will look like with that development. Plus it will help guide us, because of the data would help guide us with strategically going after certain areas. As Ms. Powdrill has said many times before, looking at clusters, looking at developing in clusters. So it gives the residents the opportunity to see something major happen in large chunks around the village. So we're very excited about that. And that link was made available to all members of the committee, as well as to council. It's a public link. Anybody could look at it, look at the maps. They did ask if we see anything that was inaccurate to let them know, because they have found that sometimes there may be some misinformation, but for the majority of the report, the information should be valid. So I do say take time to review it. If you get the opportunity, kind of familiarize yourself with it, because we will be using that as one of our tools as we develop in the village. We talked, Ms. Deborah Robb shared some information about the grant that was awarded to us. I believe it was last year. I don't know if it was last year or year before last. Can't remember right now off the top of my head, but it was for 4 new homes that was going to be built on Jackson Street. She was happy to report that the anticipated groundbreaking for those homes should begin within the next 45 days. So we should start seeing dirt moving in those areas. So for the residents, I know I've gotten a couple calls asking about what's going on over there on Jackson Street. That's what's happening. There's 4 new homes that's coming there in that area. Mr. Hun, the contractor, he is working with the Port Authority, so he will be building those 4 homes. He's also part of our team to look at other areas that he might want to consider building, because he owns additional properties in the village and he wants to build on his properties as well. So once again, as Ms. Powdrell has said many times in our meetings, additional rooftops creates additional economic impact for our community in the positive. And so one of the things that we did do in working with, or in talking to the port, working with Hamilton County Community Development and Planning, we're looking for a consensus on how we want to move forward working with these groups. So I did make a motion out of committee, and I do want to say this motion was very high level, and it was intentional to be high level so that it gives Ms. Powdrell some opportunity to sit down and develop what a plan will look like moving forward with development with additional properties. And so that motion was, so I can repeat it verbatim for council, and that motion was for Ms. Powdrell to develop a plan for lot development between Port Authority and Hamilton County Development Planning, and of course the village. And the motion was made by myself. It was seconded by Ms. Childs Jeters, and we have 5 yes votes. So the motion did pass. So I do want to, there's a couple caveats that we wanted to make sure that we pull out as well, because we did discuss it. Step 1 is for her to develop that plan of working together. Step 2 then is for economic development to review that plan, and then we will bring it to council for the full vote. A question that came up, and I had a resident call me about this as well. The Port Authority and Hamilton County Community Development Planning, they do not receive payment from the village for these services. So I wanted to make sure that is reported as well. So in our old business, we talked about one of the properties that we've been discussing now for a couple of meetings, and that's 1054 Stephens Avenue. That's the property that's owned by Mr. Bobby Crawford. We did have some discussions. Ms. Randolph was able to pull the legislation so that we can read. Mr. Desai was able to get us the deed so we can review. And I think Ms. Rita Watson was able to pull some information. So we have some information, but it doesn't appear to be all the information that we need. And the information seems to be just a little bit confusing. So instead of having continual conversations, we decided to table it until we can get additional information and also be able to speak with our solicitor, because it seems like there may be some legal situations involved with that, that whole process that we need to iron out before we make any recommendations or move forward with any things that we want to see happen with that property. And I'm sorry. And the last, well, a couple more things. So Ms. Mitchell had inquired about the property on Mangum, and I think, Mayor, you have already addressed that in your information talking about ODOT, and Mr. Desai addressed it as well, so I won't belabor that point. And one other thing that we talked about in the meeting was the Bean property, and I know we didn't talk about it much, but Mayor, you were going to give us an update about that potential sale of that property. So I haven't seen anything concrete. I've heard a couple things about it, but perhaps at our next meeting, we can bring some more light to what's going on at that property. What's the potential at that property, or is it sold? Are they planning on selling it? Whatever the situation is, but just to have that discussion. And so the action items was to discuss 1054 Stephens with our solicitor. So Mrs. Asai will be reaching out to you, kind of sharing some information, and then asking for, recommendations or solutions, because the property needs to be, something needs to happen to it. We just don't know what and how. For the village manager to work on that draft plan for the lot development with Port Authority and Hamilton County Community Development, to be able to bring back to committee for final approval, to be moved through council. And then Mayor, you already reported on the land for ODOT. So we'll just be looking For more information, and I think we kind of talked about it in our last meeting, and Mr. Desai will give us more information as it becomes available for that. And that ends my report.
Village Manager Paldro.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Councilwoman Key, we also talked about, there have been several calls about us selling lots in the village.
That's right.
And my response to that is until we can get our arms around what our plan is as we develop our plan, even though we have a high level goals, we're still developing our plan through those initiatives. And so I just want people just to be aware we're not just picking on you if we say, no, we're not selling lots. That's what we're doing, is developing our game plan around the lots that we currently own. So.
And Madam Mayor, having said that, one of the things I was thinking about is, should we have a resolution, or should we vote on a resolution for a moratorium for our land or our property until such a time that we're ready to move forward, so that our residents do know that it is really across the board? Because I've been getting calls about people wanting to buy lots or a portion of a lot. So there's a lot of calls that's starting to generate. And if maybe we have one solid message that goes out, then our residents know that we do have plans for those lots. And there may be a time where something might come available, but not within the next couple of years.
Okay, we can look, let me answer that question. So yes, ma'am, we can look at that and see if the, by having that on the next agenda. I know we'll definitely have a, yeah, because you don't have another meeting. I had to sit there and think when you're you don't have another economic meeting until after our first meeting, but we will be able to discuss that further. Ms. Mitchell? You're on mute. You just talking. You're on mute, Ms. Mitchell.
I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
I was going to suggest the same thing, to put it in economic development, because we may not need a moratorium because the manager has said there's no sale. So, if we were fluctuating between sale or no sale, but I think it does bear discussion in economic development.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Let's see. Is there anything else, Miss Key? That's in. Any other questions for Miss Key in economic development? Okay. If there's nothing further on that, is there a motion to accept the report?
I move to accept the Economic Development Standing Committee report.
And I'll second that.
Right. It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Any nays? Ayes have it. Next will be the Law Standing Committee report by Councilman Durance Daniels.
The Law Committee met March 1st, 2021. Members present, all committee members were there. Other members included Village Manager Joyce Paldrio, as well as Councilwoman Ms. Tanya Key, Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter. Oh, I'm sorry. That's don't know why I have that in there. I'm sorry. That is a complete typo. And then Councilwoman Phyllis Baber. Old business. Our old business were updates on the code enforcement. Things that we talked about under code enforcement. There was a grass cutting response time that Ms. Laverne Mitchell wanted to talk about. Pretty much we talk about the reducing response time for warning residents of high grass. The next thing that was more of a lengthy item was the towing car time frame. Hamilton County Sheriff Jeremy DePoli responded that their policy is to exercise patience and give several warnings before towing a vehicle. They do not tow vehicles from private property. However, if their assistance is needed by the code enforcer, they will be there. Paraphrase, our code enforcement needs to go on private property and tow something of that nature. Our sheriffs will be there, but they will not go on private property and tow anything. Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson will prefer a code enforcer being responsible instead of the sheriff department in that manner. This will build relationships between sheriff department and residents, because residents wouldn't look at the sheriff department as being responsible for their vehicle being towed away. The village manager, Joyce Powdrill, believes that the code enforcer role is to be responsible for what is on the resident's property, and that the sheriff/police role addresses issues found on the public streets. Excuse me 1 second, I'm sorry. Sorry, I had a small family matter, thank you. Life of Zoom. So next page is just myself. I commented that the fines for grass cutting will be the next step to govern possible time changes under section 93.41 of our code, which is dependent upon information received from our clerk of council. Research with the Center of Local Government will be discussed in our April's law meeting. Councilwoman Mitchell stated that once information has been reviewed by May 10th, letters should be sent. Once that information has been reviewed, that by May 10th, as what she mentions every year, that our letter needs to be sent to the residents to include them about grass cutting as well. So as that spring newsletter comes out, we'll make sure that will be talked about again in our April meeting. Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter discussed reminding residents about garbage cans as well, so that on Mondays you put them out, Wednesdays you have to put them back. And so let's just make sure that we continue to do that as well. And then Village Manager Powdrill suggests placing information in the newsletter regarding areas discussed previously as a way to inform residents of what needs to be done. So once again, we're just trying to use that newsletter as an opportunity to continue to communicate to the residents how we want to move as involved with code enforcement. And it comes to the ad hoc committee. The purpose of building this ad hoc committee is for the code enforcement to review the ordinances and the laws of the village, particularly around, and this is the part that I wanted to make sure that we put in there. I had to go back into the meeting to make sure we said it, particularly around section 93 when it comes to that part of our code. And then also discussions of persons to be part of this committee. However, nothing was to be finalized. Once again, we want to allow this to be Village Manager Joyce Powdrill wants to lead it, but once again, as we talk about building that ad hoc committee, we want to work with the village manager to make sure this gets done. Village Manager Powdrill also reiterated the goal is namely to make a comparison between the village code and our international property code, where the redundancies are, what we can take out, so that way our code is the most efficient. Move forward to the village solicitor decide to review those changes, then it will go back to council. I'm sorry, they'll go back to our law committee, then we will make that final motion to move it to council. Moving forward, just to hit all the highlight pieces, our zoning laws will be spoke about as well. We just requested that our committee review the zoning code information that was placed in our mailbox. And once again, thank you, Ms. Lisa Randolph, for that. So we'll discuss that in April. And then new business was just our discussion of Lincoln Heights Resolution 20R20, and pretty much the support of how we can once again work with our Hamilton County Sheriff's, the police department, and working with our residents when it talks about our young men. So Hamilton County Sheriff DePoli mentioned that the parent admonishing program is where a young person is turned over to their parents. So there are ways to thwart young people from committing minor offenses. And Councilwoman Mitchell suggested that We Thrive program as a social pathway. And the contact person will be Dominique, and Councilwoman Mitchell will provide her that contact information. So We Thrive will connect with the My Brother's Keeper and the village, and the collaboration of building this program of how we can help our sheriff's department help steer our young folks away. So we're looking forward to that partnership as well. And I thank Ms. Mitchell for as we continue to move forward in that. And then lastly, when we talk about just successfully entering the workplace, as a part of that, we just discussed how if there was any potential conflict of interest. Just as being a council member, we just discussed that in our law committee. Village solicitor decide was able to give some insight. We would also get a lot more insight in our training. So thanks to our mayor for providing that training as well, to provide more insight in that. And then so finally, that was pretty much our main items as well. So that was my report for our law committee meeting.
Okay, so any questions? Yes, Ms. Childs Jeter.
I don't have a question. I do have a suggestion, and that is that all the codes that we need to work out here perhaps need to be put on a separate sheet of paper, a single sheet of paper, and handed out to the citizens. Sometime when it's in the newsletter, they may just look at it and put it down, but a single sheet needs to go out with all those ordinances or laws that we have that we know that people sometimes don't do what they're supposed to do, such as the grass, how high it should be, those garbage cans, and anything else that the law committee can come up with. That is just merely a suggestion. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Sir.
No, to that point, and then I also having a section on our website as well. Once again, just to Silverton's point, I think they do a good job about that. I like how theirs is kind of set up. So I know we always throw it on our website, and those guys at TechWiz do a great job, but that might be just another tab that we might be able to put in there, particularly on that matter that always lives as well. That's a great idea, Councilman Charles.
And yeah, we can pass it out. You know, you have a lot of people in the neighborhood that will do that for you. If you develop those relationships, everyone take a street and give it to the neighbors, fold it up, put it in the door.
And so just one more suggestion, just because we're just speaking, even
Right, Councilman Daniels.
And just on the note, just because I know we're talking about community engagement with our sheriffs, even maybe our sheriffs might want to even participate in that as well.
Yes, Ms. Mitchell.
So I said that's another thing that can also be put into that May 10th letter.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's already been sent out. You talking about the newsletter?
No, the May 10th letter that we're supposed to send out to let residents know about the things they need to do upcoming.
That maybe possibly they can do an insert because I know the newsletter is already out at the printing company. Maybe they can just put an insert inside the newsletter with those codes that Ms. Schaus-Jeter had mentioned.
Well,
yes, Ms. Schaus-Jeter.
I was talking about it standing a long way from the newsletter.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, just
sending it separate.
A single sheet of paper, or as Mr. Richards said, a letter going out on the opposite side can be that other information. We have people that don't necessarily read the whole newsletter, or they may go back to it. You know, it's sometimes a glance thing. They just glance through it. But if it's a single sheet of paper, just dedicate to those things that they may get fined for, may work better, in my opinion. That's just me.
Okay.
The newsletter is wonderful.
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions for Councilman Daniels regarding the report?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
It just may be a typo, but he has me listed as a member.
That's a typo.
Okay,
I don't know how that got into.
Okay.
I use templates, and I must have not just changed that because I think, yeah, I apologize. So I'll make sure. So I'll make sure I resend that to you, Ms. Lisa, with those updated changes. But you see, I even had a former councilwoman in there as well. So
I just wanted to make sure that the proper people get credit for being there because I missed that particular meeting.
Yeah, I'll go back and check the minutes to just confirm and then look at the meeting again. But yeah, I'll make that correction and send it over to Ms. Lisa. Sorry about that, everybody.
Okay, I did want to mention something about the fines for his cutting grass. We should have that information that we did used to build them, and so that information should be still out there. Along with, I know Mr. Willis and the previous village manager were working on different codes and everything. I don't know how far it went, but you may want to be able to check with Ms. Pope and see how far they got, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I know they were working on that along with some of the fines that we had in the past that presented themselves in mayor's court. So that may help you to add to what kind of fines you're coming up with in amounts.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Is there nothing further? Then is there a motion to accept Councilman Daniels' report?
So moved.
Second. Okay, it's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it. Next would be recreation report. Is there a report from you, Ms. Baber, this afternoon, this evening?
Yes, Mayor, I have February as well as March committee report for recreation.
Okay, will you be sending a copy of that to Ms. Randolph so she can send it on later on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thanks. Yes, ma'am, you can go ahead. You're gonna give a oral statement. Normally, I would just, if we don't have it, I would normally just have you report later. Would you like to do that? Just report later. That way, if council has some questions, they can look over what you're presenting.
No, I'd rather just go ahead and get it over with because I'm already got to do February and March.
Okay, all right. So you're giving the months of
February and March, please.
Okay, go ahead. We'll list it as an oral report then.
Go
ahead, Ms. Faber.
Meeting date and time, February the 3rd, 2021, 5:30. Members present, myself, Phyllis Baber, Councilwoman Tanya Keys, and Councilman Daniels. The others present was Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell. The meeting summary, we talked about captains for different blocks. We also talked about doing a survey with the residents so we could see what they would like to do. We wondered, would the residents like to get involved in the cleaning up of lots? We talked about the Heights movement having monies for 3 more murals. We talked about having a block party for Juneteenth, Saturday, June the 19th, 2021. We also talked about referee training and how we could inform the residents about ref training through the website as well as newsletter. We talked about maybe having an exercise class for the seniors and others online. We also talked about Memorial Field should be open by 2022 because we must use grant by 12/21. And since our field is not available, we need to know from the coaches how much to use others' fields so that recreation can foot bill. And then the action items is survey residents, do whatever it takes to get started on the field and get it done as soon as possible. And recommendations to pay for the cost of the field that the Lincoln Heights children are using because ours is not available. So that's the end of that committee report for the month of February. And then the next meeting was Wednesday, March the 3rd, 2021 at 5:30. The members' presence was myself and then Councilwoman Tanya Keys, and others president was the manager Powell Drill. The meeting summary, we talked about Juneteenth and recreation projects for Lincoln Heights. We talked about the Cincinnati Red grants for Memorial Field. We talked about the old YMCA building, and we talked about planting flowers around the village. And the action items is plan the Juneteenth function, and the recommendation is to have flowers planted before or by Mother's Day. That's the end of my 2 reports. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Faber. Is there any questions for Ms. Faber regarding her February or March report, oral report? Yes, Ms. Mitchell?
So Ms. Faber, do you have an expected venue for the Juneteenth celebration?
We talked about having a cookout and having each individual family or resident like basically do something in their own yard because of the that we didn't know if the COVID-19 will still be around at that time. But we did choose a date, and that date is June the 19th. That Saturday.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Baber? Okay. Is there a motion to accept Ms. Baber's oral reports for February and March for recreation?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it. Next will be the standing committee report for safety. Ms. Charles Jeter.
Thank you, Mayor. The Safety Committee did meet via Zoom on Monday, February 16th, 2021 at 5:31 p.m. Members present, Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson, Councilwoman Phyllis Baber, and Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter. Others present, Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell, Councilman Durance Daniels, Village Manager Joyce Padriel, Assistant Village Manager Donna Pope, Lieutenant Jeremy DePotley, Hamilton County Sheriff, and Chief Amos Johnson, Woodlawn Fire Department. Chief Johnson reported on the fire and EMS responses, and you can see the full report for more detailed information. Lieutenant DePotley gave the sheriff report for the month of January. He reported the following: criminal reports for January 2021. January the 14th, 2 victims shot. January the 20th, stolen firearm recovered. January the 20th, arrest of aggravated vehicle homicide suspect that took place in April of 2020. And January 25th, attempted burglary. If you need additional information, see the report for criminal and non-criminal stats for the month of January. Other Mayor Ruby Kinsey Mumphrey spoke to someone from the environmental department at the University of Cincinnati regarding the testing of soil near the gun range and other areas in the village of Lincoln Heights. Manager Powdrill said there needed to be further discussions on testing, collecting, and making sure it gets delivered to the right place. Councilman Daniel said the Heights movement would organize the testing of soil by getting residents to volunteer and train them on getting the soil samples and transferring them to the right place. Manager George Powdrill reported the following: Hamilton County Sheriff Charmaine McGuffey visited the village on Friday, February the 12th. Captain Tony addressed council concerning the COPS grant. She will start talking with the sheriff department regarding the contract with the village, which will end in December 2021, this year. She met with Fire Chief Amos Johnson concerning removal of items at Village Hall to free up space needed for employees' usage and storage. She stated that the code enforcer position has been posted. She will email to council a copy of the code enforcer's job description. She discussed a reevaluation of villages' existing codes along with the International Property Maintenance Code. There were no action items at this time. The meeting adjourned at 6:30 p.m. That is my report. Thank you. Your mic is it's still on.
All right. Is there any questions for Ms. Charles Jeter? Okay, if there's no questions, motion to accept the safety report.
Motion to accept safety.
Second.
Okay, all right. It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye. Did Ms. Randolph get the second, the person who seconded?
Ms. Key seconded.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
That was all in favor. Any nays? No nays. Okay. All right. We've taken care of the committee reports. We're going to go into an update from our very own Vice Mayor Jeannie Simpson regarding the Lincoln Heights 75th Diamond Jubilee.
Okay, I gotta figure out how to pull it up. Okay, Lincoln Heights Diamond Jubilee. Last meeting was March 2nd, 2021 at approximately 6 p.m. The budget was the purpose of the meeting. Budget for all events was the expectation. Budget for the rides was presented. Budget for the concert was presented. Budget for the parade was presented. Budget for Saturday and Sunday of Labor Day were, well, daggone, Miss Mitchell.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's my grandbaby stepped on my foot.
An additional deadline of 48 hours was given for events to present budgets. And to date, we have those budgets. We have a budget for a car show, a movie night, fashion show, boxing exhibition, Saturday and Sunday of Labor Day weekend festival, a concert, rides, and pre-sale items. Action items. Check with solicitor and or Ms. Pope on how we could set up a PayPal account for donation via our website. Finalize sponsor brochure and distribute by April's meeting, the first Tuesday of the month. Securing locations for events. Recommendations, order banners with 75th Diamond Jubilee. Order pre-sale items to be sold for fundraising. And that's all that I have.
Is there any questions for Vice Mayor Stinson? Okay, no questions at this time. Okay. All right, if there are no questions, I guess we'll make a motion to accept your report.
So moved. Her verbal or oral report, yeah.
Have an oral report. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, all right. It's been moved in
I'll send
second.
a
All
copy
in,
to Ms. Randolph.
okay, all right. Thank you, Vice Mayor. It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any nays? All right, looks like that's our last report for the night. What's next is old business. I just basically wanted to give you an update. We were talking about the House Bill 157 update, and I know our tax administrator, Ms. Peterson, has been keeping us abreast of what's going on with that House bill. And so I did want to just read this information, and you guys can ask questions if you would like. House Bill 157, it's to repeal Section 29 of House Bill 197, which instructs municipalities to continue withholding income tax at a taxpayer's place of work, even if that taxpayer is currently working from home in another local jurisdiction due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This provision extends until 30 days after the governor's declaration of emergency is lifted. So I know she was concerned because it does impact the municipalities. And I know that Ms. Mitchell had brought this to our attention as well as a radar to reach out to our state reps and for us to contact our state reps in up in Columbus. Ms. Mitchell, did you want to mention anything? Because I know it was something that you had brought to our attention, and Ms. Peterson.
No, I think the main thing is just to try to get a feel for how it will impact us, dollar wise. But I'm not sure that it will pass. Based on what I've read online, there are a lot of communities that are opposed to it.
Okay. All
Madam
right.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
do we know if our state rep, Rep Denson, does he have any town hall meetings? Does he have any? I haven't seen any social media activities from him or anything like that. And maybe he's just doing something in a platform that I'm not familiar with. But I guess that's a way that as residents, we can ask questions and we can voice our concerns about those things as well. And also Senator Cecil Thomas. Do we know of anything that they're doing virtually, i.e. like Commissioner Reese just recently did, like we got all that information, we were able to participate. Has anybody heard anything?
I myself have not heard anything at this time. I know before the COVID outbreak, he came into the village. He did a town hall series when he went to each municipality, but I haven't heard anything. Ms. Mitchell, you have your hand up. Have you heard anything lately?
I haven't heard anything lately other than when I did talk to him about this to find out how come we didn't know. We weren't sent anything so we could weigh in on it. He did say he will let us know when the next time it comes up. But Ms. Key, what all of the reps were doing at one time, they had a lunch, a virtual lunch every Friday, and they would send out something. They just recently stopped that, but they would do a certain subject every Friday at 11 o'clock. They just haven't done it in the last month or so, I believe.
Gotcha. I know I get a lot of information from Rep Miranda, and I get it because I'm on a Blue Ash page as well. So I try to bring that over because it's similar information, but I was just looking for something from our rep. That was all.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Powdrill.
And I would just like to echo what Council Woman Mitchell said. State Rep Denson did reach out to me as well to get my opinion, my thoughts, and asked me to consider even going to the State House if necessary to make a statement as well. So he did reach out. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yes, Ms. Jeter. You're on mute.
I'm sorry, I got two computers open over here. I said that I heard Commissioner Reese's name came up, and I just want to say that if you are still in need of something, that you can call that 211 number, I believe. Is that right, Ms. Powdrill? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah, that, so it continues.
What I will do, Ms. Key, I will reach out to State Reps Denson and ask him, does he foresee anything else coming up in the near future? And we will get that information to you along with council as well. Okay. All right.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome. Okay. Is there any new business? Okay. All right. All right. Next on is executive session. Is there a motion?
Make a motion, we go into executive session to discuss a complaint of a council member and include our village manager.
All right, thank you.
Second.
It's been moved in second to go in executive session. Roll call, Ms. Randolph, which we will invite the village manager as well. Roll call, Ms. Randolph.
Mayor Ruby Kinsey Mumphrey,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Phyllis Baber,
Yes.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilman Durant Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Yes.
We have 7 aye votes. Mayor, the motion does pass.
Okay, thank you.
So everyone, I did send out a separate link for the executive session. You should have gotten that this afternoon. So we're going to leave this meeting and you're going to want to pick up with that link.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you soon. I'm going to take a quick restroom break, so it may just be a couple minutes before it gets set up. Okay.
And Pavel, they usually put the screen up, saying executive session.
Yes, ma'am. It will be up as soon as you guys go.
Okay, thank you.
But we're just waiting on the mayor. You may be taking the helm again, Jeannie.
Jimmy. Hi, Jimmy.
Hi, friend. Did somebody call her first? Because all we doing is just coming back in and then we're adjourning, correct?
Correct.
No,
I'm gonna call her.
Business.
I'm calling her.
You better not have any miscellaneous business, Miss Key. It's coming up on 9:30. I'm about ready to fall asleep.
I'm enjoying seeing Miss Mitchell tired.
She's
I
jet
ain't
lagged.
never seen her tired.
She might be jet lagged too. You're on mute, Miss.
Been babysitting all day. Okay.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
And I've been going up and down steps. My knees are not that good.
That's a pretty purple though behind you. I love
Yeah,
that.
this the
color.
baby's room. This the baby's room.
It's pretty.
Mayor
wonder he
Mumphrey is
stepped
trying
on
to
your
get
toes.
in.
No
I
wonder
just
the baby
spoke with
stepped
her
on
and
your
she's
toes.
trying to get in.
Huh?
I said,
I'm
no wonder
here.
the baby
She's
stepped
here.
on your
Mayor's
toes.
trying to get in. Oh, there she is.
Okay, let's roll.
Before
All right.
we do start, I did want two quick announcements because we did talk about, so Celeste and Carlton both had their babies this past week. So
Oh, really?
two baby
Oh,
boys
good.
that have joined the team. So yeah. So I didn't want to get that out. So yeah.
Congratulations.
Tell them we said congratulations, both boys. What do they have, boys and girls?
Yeah, both have boys. Celeste's baby is baby legend, legend, and then Carlton's son. Oh
Judah.
my God, send the text. He has a son as well.
Judah.
So, yeah, two
Is
sons.
it a Judah?
Judah, thank you,
It's a
Judah.
Judah.
Thank you, Judah.
He had a girl now, boy.
Langston and Judah.
Mm-hmm.
Ma'am, yep. He has two boys and a girl, and then Celeste has three girls. So Celeste has three girls, and Carlton has two girls.
Congratulations.
All right.
Woo.
All right. Let's get back in there. The Village of Lincoln Heights regular council meeting is now back in session. The time is now 9:20, Monday, March 22nd. Roll call, Ms. Randolph.
Mayor Ruby Kinsey Mumphrey.
Present.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Present.
Councilwoman Phyllis Baber.
Present.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter.
Present.
Councilwoman Tanya Key.
Present.
Councilman Durance Daniels.
Present.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Present.
We have 7 who are present, Mayor. We do have a quorum.
All right. All right. Next is miscellaneous business. Is there any miscellaneous business?
Not any.
Okay.
I saw Deepak get close to
Then
the
you
camera.
know what's next. It is motion for adjournment.
So
move.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in
Oh my
favor?
God. Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, bye.
All right.
Good night.
Bye.
Good
Bye.
night.
Congratulations,
Good night.
Carlton.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.